Yeah.
His name is Vincent Caravella. He owns the Scrapbook.
You've been telling me about Vinny for a long time.
Yeah, so it's an antique prints and maps. Let's come on over, Vinny.
Vinny's about to give us a joke too.
So he does custom framing, right? That's sort of his bread and butter. But he also has an amazing array of antique prints and maps dating back to, I think, the 14th century.
Do we need to move the
We can
the
move
dishes
this
here?
Yeah. So let's move this stuff out of the way to whoever can grab.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We just don't want the prints to get involved with the food.
Yep. Or the beetle.
Yeah.
So, and Vinny has been doing this for a long time now, and he is situated, if you remember where the White Elephant shop is, like the most famous antique spot.
Is he not near the ancient cemetery?
Yeah, he's right
Yeah, he's right there, right?
So it's,
yeah.
And Vinny is directly behind that. It's called the Scrapbook.
Yeah.
So, and here he is, Vinny Caravella. How are you? It's good to see you again.
Thank you. And what a beautiful day.
This is gorgeous, huh?
This is the place to be.
Yeah.
This is a great restaurant.
Oh yeah, it's good. We talked about that a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So Vinny,
yeah.
Someone doesn't know what the Scrapbook is. What do you tell them?
We don't sell scrapbook material.
Right. Yeah.
That's number one. I get these phone calls from all over the country asking me for scrapbook material. I says, no, you got. Well, what do you do with a name like that? There's a long story.
Yeah.
No, we specialize in early maps and prints, decorative, antique, and we do a lot of picture framing now.
Right.
More in the old days, pre-pandemic, we would primarily framing for ourselves and for the trade. So the auction houses in town, some of the dealers in town, movie sets. We did a lot of movie sets.
Well, that's interesting.
The pandemic hit, and of course my shows from Boston to Atlanta were canceled. So we had to make a decision, and so we went online and started publicizing. We'll do framing, and we've been inundated with stuff.
Yeah.
It's been great. I mean, thank goodness.
That's amazing.
It's been fantastic. But what I did today is bring a few things that are Cape Ann related, and a couple of other special things.
So let's start taking a look, Vinny, and you can sort of walk us through this, and you guys let us know which camera is the best to show things off.
Okay.
Over here?
Over there.
Let me do this.
That's a map of Essex, where we are, and it's from an atlas in 1873.
Wow.
And of course some of the magic names are on it, the Burnhams, the Storys, the Coswells, etc. So if you had a home or a building here in Essex at that time, it's there. So we do reproductions of it, but we also sell the originals.
Is this the original or
this
reproduction?
This is a reproduction.
Okay, yeah.
Because a lot of people say, well, I only want to hang it up in my summer home and I don't want to do it. But we do reproductions also now, which is becoming an important part of our business.
Yeah, and I've been in your shop a lot when people ask specifically for this kind of map.
Yeah.
What do you think the appeal is, other than the age?
Well, it's maybe they put family names on it. The house that they're living in is there.
Yeah.
Or they just want something of Essex.
So what are some of the oldest maps you have, and what's the story behind them?
Okay, first of all,
sorry.
People always come in and say, what's the oldest piece you got in here? Okay? The oldest piece is stuff like this.
I love that one.
And this is
a botanical?
A botanical published in the year 1597.
Wow.
So Elizabeth I is on the throne of England at the time, and young Billy Shakespeare hasn't written Romeo and Juliet. And that piece of paper is from that period of time. And we give out documents, we sign documents and everything else. The framing we do, it's archivally matted and framed. And we do a whole series of them. They usually sell out real quick.
So how does paper last that long?
Well, the paper is actually, old paper is made out of cotton, rag. In fact, today sometimes we call mat board, rag mat board, which is a high cotton content. And they beat it to a pulp in a syrup. They put it in vats and it would gel. Think of Jello or gelatin. And then they could print on it or write on it. And it was very, very high cotton content. Later in the Victorian era, because there was so much stuff to print, they started using wood pulp, which is highly acidic. And it can be a problem. It'll go brittle on you. But this stuff will last forever unless
guess
you
so.
put a match to it. So.
Well, you know, I was always surprised in the years I've gotten to know you, Vinny, was how many people request botanicals. I just didn't know it was that popular.
Yeah, well, it's a good decorative item. It's a no-fail piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
Botanicals and ferns are good. And it's environmental things are in now.
Uh-huh.
You know, the environment now.
Cool. All right, what else we have to show off?
Okay, since I'm just taking things out of order, but
That's fine.
this piece with all the excitement about the celestial photographs, here's one from the mid-1700s of what they thought the constellations and what the heavens had. So one part of it is the constellations of the northern sky and constellations of the southern sky.
You want to look at that, Heather?
Mm-hmm,
So, Vinny, are these pulled from books or?
Some of it, like this and the Essex map, are from atlases
Okay.
of different sizes. This is a miniature atlas. This is the Essex County atlas.
And colored.
And colored.
It's
Some
beautiful.
of them come colored.
Really
some
beautiful.
are colored somewhere in their history.
Oh, okay.
Who knows? You know.
So
Awesome.
did you start out loving old things or start out loving prints or maps?
I was a kid in the 4th grade. I remember.
Uh-oh.
Way back in the 4th grade. I was always interested. I was fascinated by Lewis and Clark. I was interested in history. And I was the kid, you know, they tell us the story of Lewis and Clark, and any questions and my hand would go up. Yeah, what happened to the baby? Now, if you've seen Sacagawea, and she's got the papoose on her back, and they'd look at me kind of strange. And for years, I was just fascinated. Why did Columbus sail west to get east? You know, what's the backstory
Yeah.
on that stuff? Why, you know, why did we continually move? Why did they come to New England instead of going somewhere else? Well, in 1623, that's Champlain, I assume, is what they're dating, and the fishing industry that began out here on our coast.
Yeah.
Was there were people already out here, but they were just fishing and then going back home. And sometimes they were on the run.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So we settled here. We settled in. James Cook is one of these great adventure stories
Yeah.
of you know, the several voyages, and he used a guy. His second in command was a guy from Boston. And the third voyage, the one that he was killed on, the United States was in, or the Americas were in revolt, and the British Admiralty didn't trust the guy, so they replaced him, and everybody moved up a bit, and a young ensign named Bligh, William Bligh, comes in. If you know Mutiny on the Bounty,
Yeah,
that's William Bligh. So there are connections in history that just keep going and going and going.
Very cool. Well, so you brought a lot of stuff, Vinny, so I don't want to, we want to
Yeah.
show off all of it.
Okay, this is one of the pieces
Yeah.
we do, which is based on
I got this one.
Yeah.
Fitzhugh Lane.
Unbelievable.
And so it's licensed to us, and we publish them. It's a good seller. In fact, sometimes my wife will say, "What are you doing today?" "I'm going to print money."
And this is from 1836.
Yeah, the original.
Yeah. Do you own the original?
No,
Yeah.
See that, Heather?
Yeah. It's beautiful.
but we're licensed
Just
from it.
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Here's another one, celestial, with the constellations of. And if you stood in April, May, or June, that quarter of the year, and looked from a certain direction at the sky in the northern hemisphere, this is supposedly what you would see. It's
And
part of
also
a-
from the 1850s.
And
Wild, huh?
nautical charts have always been important. And I have two here that relate to Cape Ann. This one is Gloucester Harbor,
Okay.
and this one
Oh,
is
yeah.
and this one is Annisquam. And you notice Annisquam is Annis Squam, split. And these were published by
Yeah.
George and Edmund Burt. George and Edmund. Now I drew a blank. I'm old. I forget easy.
No, you're not. Blunt?
Blunt.
No. Yeah.
The blunt maps. And what
Yeah.
they did is until the beginning of the Civil War, the American Civil War, The U.S. government would do the surveys and they would do the publishing. And these were issued like in a group of maps for a mariner sailing from roughly the Isle of Shoals or Portsmouth down through to Pensacola, Florida, and each one would have a map. Now, water and maps don't get along too well with paper, and so a lot of them were destroyed, and you can't find them in this kind of condition usually.
I did a little piece for 1623 on the history of Annisquam, and Annis is actually a person. We found the family in, I want to say, the Ontario area is where they came from. So it was Annis.
Well, the connection of New England to Canada is very strong, and early maps would often feature New England and the Canadian maritime provinces in one.
Very cool. So is this anything, Vinny, or is that just?
That's just a piece of cardboard.
Oh, awesome, fascinating stuff. So for folks who have never been to the scrapbook before, what are they going to find if they go inside, other than 9,000 frames? That are all...
A mess.
Yeah.
No, because of the pandemic, we had to unload a lot of stuff, bring it in. Don't be put off by it. We're very friendly. We're willing to talk to you. Right now, we have this stuff for sale, of course, but if you've got any kind of picture framing needs, get a price from us. People have said the word wow when I quote, and in the beginning I thought I'm too expensive. One guy asked me, are you going to make any money on that? Kind of thing. So our prices are very good. They're free quotes. We're happy to give it, or if you got something you think is valuable, bring it in. There was a woman that called my wife. She was cleaning out her mom's place. Okay, she comes in with the map. She called my wife and she says, "Do you think you'll look at this map?" She brings it in, and I look at it. It's a map of the world by a guy named Abraham Ortelius in 1595.
Wow.
Real one.
Wow.
Beautiful condition. I mean, probably the best condition I've ever seen it. And why don't I find these things?
Yeah, right.
So she shows it to me, and I says, where did you find it? She says, in the barn on her mother's property. Your barn? Okay. So she says, what do you think?
Did you ask the address of the barn?
Yeah.
Where is that barn?
Well, I said, I can give you $50 for it. And she says, oh, will you? And I said, no, I can't. So what I did is I ended up brokering it for her and selling it to a big gallery in Brooklyn. And she came back with another piece. So we'll even, if there's some big pieces that you think are very good, we will happily research stuff for people. So that if they say, well, thank you very much, but I'm going to keep it, that's fine. But if they want to sell something, or we can broker it for them. High-end pieces, usually we can broker. And they can get a lot more money for it than trying to sell it.
Very nice. So Vinny, if people want to find the scrapbook, how can they go about doing that?
Okay. Well, you said it earlier, the White Elephant Shop.
Yeah.
What used to be red is now dark blue.
And no elephant.
And we're opposite, if you look across from the Congregational Church, we're at 34 Main Street. There's a driveway. You go down the driveway, look to the left.
White clamshell driveway.
There's not so many clamshells.
I know, it's been time.
But look to the left and we're right there.
Yeah.
And we're usually open noon to 5 every day. By chance or appointment, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday we're open noon to 5.
Awesome.
Great.
Vinny, it was great catching up.
All right, great.
Yeah, folks, go to the
Nice to meet
scrapbook.
you.
Go for the framing. Go for the antique prints and maps. Stay for the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I do when I go every time.
Yeah,
Vinny, we'll
if
spend
you
it.
got an hour to kill, I'm your guy.
Yeah, that's it. Vinny, thanks so much. I'll go see you soon, okay?
Cheers.
Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.